r/askreddit. What immediately tells you that a person wasn't raised right? They throw trash out a car window. I live on a busy road, and I'm so sick of people throwing their trash in front of my house. Some guy tosses out a tall boy beer nearly every workday. I can't wait to move. Also, so many cigarette butts. We live in a high fire hazard area, so I'm worried one of these days they'll start a fire. I try to go pick up litter twice a month. Lack of consideration for others. That basically sums up all the other points mentioned here. Littering. I was out and about with someone who'd been a friend since childhood. We were in her pickup, and she would just chuck stuff into the truck bed to accidentally blow out. It was one of the first things that made me realize that maybe she's not the kind of person I want to be friends with. That's even worse than littering, because now you can't even control when your shit blows out and possibly into other drivers behind you. I will never understand how people think it's okay to let other clean up after them, unless the circumstances are extraordinary. I had a coworker once who I got really bad vibes from. Just trashy. And lo and behold, one day she dropped a big gulp-sized container on the ground, and instead of picking it up was gonna just let it chill there, and I had to ask her to pick it up. She did, but if I hadn't said anything she would have just left it there. Made me so mad. Unless the circumstances are extraordinary. The only time I litter is when the wind is really going and it blows something away, and after chasing it 10 or 20 feet it's clear I'm never catching up. I still feel bad, but I can't commit to an ultra marathon distance in the hopes it slows down enough for me to get. I hope that qualifies as extraordinary. When I was in my 20s, I saw a man take a drink of his coke and leave it on the ground next to his vehicle door, and then drive off. He had to circle back to exit the parking lot, so I picked the coke up and tossed it in his truck bed. He got out in a rage and came at me. I pointed out that he passed a trash can, purposely left it on the ground, and that littering was a $500 fine. I pointed to a camera in the parking lot, and he drove off. My stepdad was in a hole, and once on a long road trip he threw his fast food trash out the window and my mom had a fit and made him turn around on the highway and pick it up. He was so humiliated and angry, it was glorious. She didn't do many things right, but that was one. I was walking down the street when I saw a young couple sitting at a restaurant table near the road, small European city, while talking to his girlfriend. The guy threw a can of coke on the road a few feet in front of me. His girlfriend did not even react. They just kept talking like nothing was going on. There was a bin right next to them, and I'm sure if they had simply left the can on the table the restaurant owner would have picked it up while cleaning it. The craziest thing is that I picked it up just a moment after he threw it, and they both clearly saw me do it, but, again, did not react. They didn't even seem ashamed or anything. They just kept talking while watching me throw the can in the bin next to them, put it on the table in front of them with a smile, and say you're welcome. Being a parent sometimes involves a bit of performance to teach. My kid threw something on the ground at the park, intending to discard it. My eyes welled with tears as I implored, I didn't know you were a litter bug. Soon they were very upset at the implication that they were indeed a litter bug, because they already knew that was a bad thing to be. I had to comfort before they had calmed enough to pick it up, but we got through it okay. We went to the playground and there was a family there who left trash everywhere. My kids were horrified and picked everything up while complaining that kids play here. When they were about half done, the family sheepishly joined in. People who dump refrigerated grocery products on random aisles. This freaked me out one day when I buying a case of water and found a case of rotting hamburger meat. I found a peach with a couple of bites taken out of it with the coffee. I work in a grocery store. The best one I saw was someone ordered a hot pizza from our pizza station, which are made to order, then abandoned it in the cooler with the refrigerated take and bake pizzas we have. I get finding stuff from our service case abandoned. It's already cold and our prices are much higher than some people think. Last abandoned item I found was a $20 container of our fresh fruit salad, which comes in pre-cut, but the pizza station has set many prices. They should have known what they were getting into before they ordered. I do too. Sometimes I get to be a witness to these shenanigans. The beer is nearby a freezer. Too often I'll see people load up on hot food at the deli, get some ice cream, and then decide nah, I need booze, and the ice cream winds up in the beer. the hot food in the freezer, and I'm always left wondering what is wrong with them. Lack of personal accountability. They can never admit wrongdoing on their part. It's always someone else's fault. I once had an ex who didn't follow office policy. He went as far as to blame a state senator for why he got fired. No, it was not a government job at all. Why stop there? I've heard that most things are Obama's fault. This may be the case. /s. I wish I could just bind their hands and legs on a chair, hold their face with my both hands, come real close and say, it is okay to make mistakes and admit it. Nothing will happen. No one will see you as a failure or flawed. You're not going to suddenly become a terrible person. Your image won't shatter. It is okay. Then give them a few slaps to make sure it sinks in and go for lunch. I always told my kids that a mistake doesn't define who you are, but what you do after the mistake does. We are human. We are gonna screw up throughout our lives. It's unavoidable. What we can control, however, is choosing to apologize, fix the situation, make amends, etc. when they talk badly about someone who hasn't done anything wrong behind their back. I've seen co-workers talking behind the back of new employees and drawing conclusions about every aspect of their life. Like, you've seen that person for 3 days, UMF. And you know they're doing the same thing about you. Some twat I used to work with had the following conversation with me. CW, name sweetie, you deleted my print job from the copier. Me, no, I didn't. CW, yes, you did. Me, no, I didn't. CW, well, it's broken now so. Me, wait, it's broken? You think that might be the reason and not me? I found out from someone she was talking shit. I think she thought I was disrespectful or some shit. Her and her office buddies are the same people who passed around a book about being a good Christian wife too. WWJD. Be a passive aggressive gossip, of course. This just reminded me of a guy I worked for when I first got married. When he found out I was a newlywed, he left all kinds of born again information on my desk about how to be a dutiful submissive wife. As a Christian woman, gross. He and I did not get along. He was the type to snap his fingers to get my attention. What an a-hole. I hate that. I had a couple of co-workers greet this guy called Bob one day. Dude was filling in for someone else, and they seemed so happy to see him. But then when he left, I heard nothing but oh don't you think Bob is terrible at his job, and oh he's such a waste of time. Thing is they weren't even working with him, I was. In fact, he was better than the person I usually worked with. The person I usually worked with would take fucking forever to do anything. Bob was very fast and still managed to produce good results. It genuinely seemed like they were just jealous that he wasn't as slow as the rest of them. Dude was so nice as well. You know how, when you look at photos of Santa he looks very jolly and just a fun guy to be around. That was Bob. I've seen the same attitude with my co-workers. A lot of them are lazy as fuck and will intentionally drag their asses on every task to run out the clock. So when someone comes in and is actually productive and tries hard they get super defensive and start finding reasons to shit on the person. I think they are afraid of management realizing how incompetent they are and being forced to actually try. Yeah, probably. It's just annoying. I'm in uni now, and that kind of culture is one of the reasons why I'm so hesitant to get a part-time job. Forget promotions. I want to be productive because I enjoy doing a good job. I take pride in doing my job well and efficiently, but I'm not going to do that for a company that's going to punish me for doing so. I could do a half-ass job, but it goes against my principles. It's just not me. When a person is supposed to apologize, but makes excuses instead. This is to be distinguished from those who are simply trying to give an explanation to clear a misunderstanding. The best I got from my ex was the I'm sorry, but I'm sorry you feel that way. I always call that out. Don't apologize for how I feel. My feelings aren't the issue. The issue is your behavior. That's what you need to be apologizing for. Try again. Oh, nice technique. Actually might assist growth in the other person, or hasten the demise of the relationship, which opens the door for a better, healthier person to walk through. That only works if your feelings are valid though. As an example, my sister once has the battery of the car die. It was in daylight in a mall parking lot like at 2 PM in on a warm summer day. She didn't know how to boost it. She called me to come boost her car. Now this would have been a 1.5-hour expedition for me. She had booster cables. I told her to ask someone to give her a hand. She did and it all worked out. It took her maybe 10 minutes to find someone and boost the car. She asked me to apologize for not coming to get her, but I didn't feel the need because I didn't do anything wrong. She felt upset that I didn't do it. Well, sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you acted that way. That is the issue, not my feelings on the situation. I'm sorry you can't take a joke. I'm sorry you misunderstood me. I'm sorry you're too sensitive. Always followed by I said I was sorry. Now you need to say you're sorry for your part. I'm sorry you're an a-hole. Would that be adequate? Some pretty small things that tell me everything. Cutting the line when you clearly see people waiting in front of you. Disrespecting servers or cashiers. Not holding the door for someone who's directly behind you or coming towards you. Dropping an empty fast food bag or soda cup casually out a car window. Leaving the table you were eating at in a food court or a fast food restaurant or any restaurant a disaster. Leaving the shopping cart in an unideal location if a cart carol is nearby. Disrespectful behavior towards people just doing their job is a huge red flag for me. I've turned down second dates due to how they treated the wait staff. Edit for spelling. Finding cruelty funny. Pranking people is usually just cruelty recorded. A good prank should result in everyone laughing, the person being pranked included. They litter. Not small things like cigarette butts or straw wrappers either, which is bad enough, but I'm talking like whole McDonald's bags out the window on the highway. Uck those people. This is the third time I've seen littering in these comments and all 3 times McDonald's out of a car window is the example. It's one of the more typical things you see on the ground next to highways in the US. McDonald's bags/trash is probably the second most common, the first being beer cans. In the northeastern US, the third most common thing to see is Dunkin' Donuts trash, when they can't take no for an answer. I'm inclined to blame a culture that insists taking no for an answer is the same as giving up. I love that scene from Jessica Jones where the guy says I never take no for an answer, and she replies how happy of you made me realize how messed up this whole idea of not taking no for an answer actually is. Having kids only to neglect or abandon them. Having kids for the validation and attention. I'll always remember a couple weeks after my niece was born, because Maisel admitted that she was pissed she wasn't getting attention anymore. She was jealous of the attention shifting to her daughter. And she went on to have 6 more after this one. Because she loved the attention. Almost none of her kids talk to her anymore. Can't imagine why. Their inability to show basic empathy or respect for others. This one. I married someone who had the "yuck anyone who disrespects me" attitude. I made the mistake of assuming she had a high bar for what she considered disrespect, but she would snap at Walmart employees stocking shelves because they were in the way. She basically had a rock the world attitude, and it made her bitter and miserable. She also got annoyed that I didn't operate like this, and always tried to point out how most people did not intend malice towards her, and were just trying to do their jobs. When they put the empty milk carton back in the fridge like they just birthed it. My brother was raised right. Little Ucker still does this. Only 1 out of 4 kids who pulls this shit. Except he'll leave 1 gulp and claim it's not empty. Or he'll put the Raisin Bran Crunch back in the pantry with literally 10 flakes and half a raisin. No clusters. No clusters. Lack of self-awareness. Making everything about them. Talking over others. Dismissing other people's opinion. General lack of respect for shared spaces. Putting their dishes away. Hanging wet towel back on a rack. Hanging wet towel back on rack? Like the towel bar in the bathroom that's there to dry towels? I think they were saying people who don't do that are disrespectful. Like people who don't put dishes away. When a person doesn't respect the word no. When someone feels entitled to know why a person says no, then they weren't raised to mind their own business. Like why even ask if you've already decided for me? Thank you.